£20,000 a year, which was beyond his wildest dreams until he got here. And he realised this £20,000 wasn't actually a lot of money living at our standard of living. He wasn't going to go back after his contract as a rich man. Was it correct that we did that? I was very grateful he was there. But we've taken him from a country who's paid to train him, and because we're rich and powerful, we've gone out there and taken him from his own country. Is it a good thing? It depends. If you're looking for a house, and I'm sure you hear this at the council, you know, there's not enough houses to go round, people will blame immigrants. People used to blame the London overspill. People will always blame something, but we have limited resources, and we just have to be careful how them resources go round.
Right, okay, thank you very much. To the economy, William, do you think it's affecting the economy as such?
Yeah, I mean, I come from the point of view of saying that immigration, I think, has been a good thing when it's managed in the UK, and it's been a good thing for West Norfolk as well as the UK as a whole. I think most of the people that have emigrated here from Eastern Europe tend to be young, fit, healthy, and often educated people that come here. They actually don't necessarily use a lot of health services because they are generally younger and fitter. And as we saw on the video, there are some issues with actually filling jobs in West Norfolk, particularly on agricultural land. So I think we have benefit from it as a region and as a country as a whole. That said, I do think there are some serious and genuine concerns about immigration, the way it's been handled, the immigration policy, not just by the current government, but by previous governments as well. And it's obviously led to some uneasiness in communities. I think that's undeniable. If you walk around King's Lynn on any Saturday, it doesn't take you long before you hear an East European accent. It's not rare to see groups of young East Europeans sitting around drinking Polish lager. Perhaps if you go in a shop, there might be now a section of Polish or other foreign food. And if you've lived in King's Lynn all your life, and all of a sudden you're seeing your community change, I think inevitably you're going to have some kind of anxiety about what is actually happening to your community and where that's going. I think there are other people who have at least the perception that they've lost jobs to East Europeans that have come over and kind of undercut them, particularly self-employed people. I'm thinking particularly the building industry. And they might have fear about what is going to happen to their jobs, and it particularly hits the kind of people on lower incomes and people in more deprived areas the hardest. My kind of real concern is that those anxieties and fears have been picked up and do get picked up by the extreme right-wing parties, and we all know who we're talking about there, and some aspects of the press as well, and kind of stoke up the myths about immigration and the resentment towards those communities. And I hope we do go on to talk about kind of the assimilation of Eastern Europeans and other immigrants, because I think that is a big part of the debate about whether they should be assimilating better into our society and into our economy. But I think there are some real barriers there for them. But to cut my long answer short, yes, I do think it has been a good thing for our economy.
Okay, all right, thank you for your point of view. Manish, I'm going to go back to a point that Michael made earlier about taking skilled workers from less developed countries, third world countries, for example, the doctor from the Philippines. Do you agree that we should be taking skilled workers from other countries?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, yes. I mean, in 1996, I did quite a lot of work on the Asylum and Immigration Act, where there was a skill shortage in some of the industries like catering, the education sector, the NHS, you know, where people were able to come over and work here for a couple of years and then obviously reapply for their visas and working permits. But at the same time, as you've already mentioned, that where demand has already exceeded supply, you know, and immigration is good for the economy, it's good for the GNP, it's good for the gross domestic product, it's good because Britain now is probably the fourth largest economy in the world. It's very, very strong, and it gives people a very, very strong opportunity to come here, to start a new life, to start a new beginning, you know, to indulge in the benefits that are available. And probably it's one of the best, I would say, in the world when you travel around, you know, because the doors have been opened, the benefit system has been very, very good as well. But at the same time, there has to be, I think, tighter controls now on the immigration, because we have to look at the quota, you know, we have to look at the jobs, we have to look at the economy as a whole, and then review it sort of over the next 4 to 5 years, and look at the system that way.
Thank you. Welcome back from the break. Welcome back to Vocal Point. Once again, our team of researchers went out in order to shed some light on the information on immigration socially. Here is the VT.
From my point of view, it's about the welcome that we give people, which I think is quite positive in West Norfolk. And it's about working towards making sure that other people see the value of those people that are moving into West Norfolk, as I say, whether it's internal migration or external. There are no real communities from different areas of the world, people that meet together, but not because of their particular ethnicity or nationality or culture. Some frontline staff find it very, very difficult to deliver their services to particular communities or particular parts of the community, and in that I include people like Roma, Gypsy and travellers, because they don't see them as the same, they don't see them as their traditional service user base, so they will see them as Latvian or Lithuanian or something before they see the issue that they have to address or the service that they have to deliver.
And there's rather a lot of foreign people coming into your street, then I suppose you do feel threatened. And yet on the other hand, there's other people that welcome them. Churches often make them welcome, and they get a different. I think it depends on where you are. If you're in a big city, then you probably fit in, although sometimes you get the ghetto situation, which is not good. A governor at the nursery school here, we have more children that don't speak English than we do that speak English, and yet they get on very well together. There's no racialist thing about children. They will play together and they will learn each other's language very, very quickly. If you went to live abroad and there was people that were talking your own language, you would tend to congregate with them.
I thought it would be good to introduce new food and new costumes, new type of coffee to our community here, especially Gaywood, because they didn't have much coffee shops around, so I thought it would be good to provide something like that. My aim is exactly have every sort of customers, and thanks God I do have. Every morning I got my coffee shop full of English people, which I feel really pleased, and along the day you can see all nationalities here. I think multicultural is really good because we can learn from each other.
I think it's quite beneficial for the community to have a business like this in the area, because they can actually meet other Portuguese, they can meet different people, English people that come in here. We get a very mixed race coming to use the cyber cafe, and overall I think it helps in integration of everyone really. I think it's just a question of time for the cultures to mix actually, because they're already started to mix. There's a lot of mixed races which are coming together, the cultures are coming together, and it'll be a question of years before you have one big culture rather than all the different cultures.
After a few years, we got together and formed a Chinese association, really to keep the Chinese tradition going, and also if the indigenous people want to learn about our culture, they can do as well. So now we visit schools, we go to festivals in the area to introduce culture to everybody.
In reports early last week, John Denham, the Community Secretary, has claimed that middle classes are insulated from the effects of immigration and find it hard to understand fears about crime, housing and jobs. So Michael, is John Denham right to say that middle classes are insulated?
It was a very interesting statement when I read that last week in the paper. Are they insulated? There again, it comes down to an area thing. I think, yes, to a certain extent they are. They're, if you want to call the middle class, the working class,